Hey, what's going on, TLC? Is your boy PT coming at you from my home with another word of the week. And then I know, unless you've been living under a rock these past few days, you've probably spent the weekend watching the situation that's been unfolding in our country. The death of George Floyd, the protests, the riots, and the looting that ensued, right? You got probably inundated with conversations about equality, racism, social justice, justice in general, right? That's been all over social media. You've been reading a bunch of articles. And, I haven't really been saying much about it. I was thinking to myself that maybe we've trained TLC well enough to have a well-informed, Christ-centered conversation when they have these situations come up, or at least have a Christ-centered position on this. But Brother Evan called me up and he said, maybe it wouldn't be bad to give a little nudge to our people at this time. And I think he's right. And so I really wanted to spend this time to share with you a little bit about this. It might be a little long, but if you stick through it, you might actually learn something. So let's get to it. Here's the thing. People are angry, rightly so, right? I mean, for a man to be killed because he bought something with a counterfeit bill is ridiculous. It's unheard of. I used to work at a mom and pop sandwich shop, and oftentimes my boss would tell me to swipe, or at least ink the $20 bill, because those are the easiest to forfeit, to make a counterfeit out of, and just to check it. And so, we have customers that are regulars, and they'll come in and they'll give us money. Now, I usually check the 20s, and oftentimes, more often than you think, I would have one that turns up black, and it'd be kind of awkward, but I would give it back to them. I say, I can't accept this because it's counterfeit. And in those exchanges, I've never thought about calling the cops or even wishing harm upon this person. So you can imagine how insane it was for me to see a man being brutalized and hurt over something so stupid, right? And I'm pretty sure you felt the same way. And it's dumb. And as you watch all of this, probably, maybe, emotions raged up, or maybe you waited till the woke crowd got involved and then your emotions raged up, or whatever the reason, but you probably got mad. You probably got mad, and you've probably been responding a lot. But the question I really want to get us to answer, and this is the most important question, because if you get this right, it has the power for you to change and revolutionize everything that you do, right? And the question is, why are you angry? Why do you know that this thing that's happening to this man is wrong, right? Why do you want justice for this guy? Or maybe, to phrase it a better way, from where do you draw your reasoning to seek for justice? Why? You got to answer the why, because if your why is clear, church, listen to me. If your why is clear, then you have power. Then you have the foundation and the strength to pursue something like this with conviction, with authority, right? With an enduring spirit to never give up. But your why got to be there. And I know when it comes to a situation like this, especially when it comes to politics, I kind of don't say much, not because I'm scared, but because I realize that maybe my voice doesn't really have a lot of weight in the grand scheme of things. But I am your pastor, and I am entrusted with caring for your soul, your spirit, your mind. And so would you give me the opportunity to help you understand the why, right? Would you allow for me, at least for the next few minutes, to give you the why in this situation? Because I'm watching all the passion and all this sincerity that's being shown online, on the news, on TV, and it's being poured out. People are ignited about this. Our church is ignited about this. Youth, if you guys are at home and you're upset and you're just all over it, And I have people, friends of mine who are just on opposite sides of this, and they're just arguing with their Christian brothers and sisters about this, And the thing is, there's so much passion, so much sincerity. And my biggest fear is that this passion, this sincerity, this feeling, these emotions can come and go. Like all things that's emotionally based, it can come and go. But it won't if you understand your why. You guys following me? I don't want to preach today because I know this is just the word of the week, but I haven't preached in a while, so I might end up preaching. We'll see. I mean, I didn't plan it for it to be a message, but it's going to be longer than 5 minutes for sure, okay? My hope is for you to understand the why TLC, right? Let your pastor teach you the why. And after that, you can make your own informed decision about it, or you may totally disagree with me, right? But I'm going to do my best to give you the why in accordance to the Word of God, right? I got 2 things I want to share with you guys. First, I want to share with you a little context, the legacy of equality, our legacy, the Christian legacy, the Christian lineage of equality. I want to share that with you first. And then secondly, I want to share with you the why to move forward, our why to move forward, okay? So first, the Christian legacy of equality. And secondly, our why to move forward. Now, let me ask you this question, right? In regards to our legacy, where do you think the idea of equality came from? Did it just burst out of nowhere? Did it just came from bright minds that just, equality, that's what we need to fight for, human rights, racial equality, social equality, economic equality? Do you think those equality just popped out of nowhere? Right? Where do you think it came from? Apart from Christianity, all the major religions, they do not contribute to the concept of equality. No major religion actually contributes to the concept of equality apart from Christianity. I'll give you an example. Like the Eastern religion, Buddhism. Buddhism is based on a class ranking of the ladder of spiritual attainment. Every time you reincarnate into a more enlightened state. And hopefully, through these levels of reincarnation, through these ladders of reincarnation, you reach spiritual enlightenment. So there's classes. There is division. There is hierarchy. When we get to the Hinduism, you get the caste system. There are people who are untouchables, and there are people who reign above them. When you get to Islam, you got the Sharia laws that separates the rights of women and outsiders, differentiates it actually, completely contrasts to the rights given to the men of faith when it comes to Sharia laws. Okay? Do the major religions contribute to the concept of equality, the one that you have been so passionate about? The answer is no, they do not. Sadly, they don't. Does equality come from our secular worldview? The worldview of atheism, the worldview where everything is by chance? The answer is 100% no. You can't. The basis of a secular worldview, an atheistic mindset, is evolution. And in evolution, what do you see? You see the idea that the conclusion is those who are more fit survives. Those who are more fit live, where those who can't dies, right? In an evolutionary standpoint, if you take this to this nth degree, what do you see? You're going to see the teaching that it's actually going to be the most racist of all the teachings, of all the worldviews, because it leads you to view individuals, race, people, as some are more advanced than others. That is the end thing that would you play out evolution to its goal. You see a racist divide among groups, individuals, people, right? You can't go from natural selection of the fittest to all of a sudden, let's have human rights for everybody. It doesn't correlate that way. Where does your concept of equality, where does that passion, that burn come from? Where does that feeling you get when you watch George Floyd on the ground being brutalized like that, and your anger pops up and your demand for justice, where do you think that came from? It didn't come from major religions. It did not come from your culture of secular life. It came from Christianity. It is. The origin and the advancement of it came from Christianity. I'm not saying this to boast, but I'm saying this for your information, that you'll be informed about this. Right? The Bible teaches that everyone equally bears the likeness and the image of God. Therefore, everyone, right, share an equal dignity because they were uniquely created. We're all made in the image of God. Therefore, we share an equal dignity across the field. Don't matter whether you're rich, poor, old, young, male, female, black, white, Asian, you are straight or gay, it does not matter. We are all made in the image of God. Therefore, we share equal dignity across the playing field. So when you get a lot of secular movements that's out there and they're like passionate and they're fighting for rights, where do you think they got their foundation for those rights from? Where do you think they borrowed it from? Christianity, right? Void of the Christian grounding of human rights. Secular civil rights movements, they come up empty. Why? Right? They come up empty on their why. They don't have a why for it. You don't believe me? Just ask them. Ask them this question. It's very simple. Why? Ask them, why do you think people are equal? Why do you think people are equal? And just keep asking them why. And you'll soon discover that after a while, their answer, if they're not being honest, is saying, just cause. It just is. Right? Or if they are being honest and they do believe it, they say, well, humans aren't equal. If they're honest to their worldview and their viewpoint. But Christians, we have a foundation. First of all, I want to make sure I caveat this, because I'm not saying that if you're not a believer, you can't fight for civil rights. That's not true at all, right? And history doesn't show that, right? All I'm saying is that you don't have a foundation to stand upon. You don't even know why you're doing it. I mean, something innate in you, you know what that innateness is? It is the image of God bearing on your conscience, because you're hardwired to understand that humans, we are made in his image, therefore we are equal in standard. You are hardwired to believe that, even if you believe God or not. But here's the thing. A believer, if you are a believer, if you're a Christian, you have a foundation to hold upon. We're not tag-alongs in the fight for racial equality. We're not tag-alongs in the fight for social equality. We're not tag-alongs from the fight for educational equality, legal equality, economic equality. It's our lineage. Equality is our lineage, church. At the heart of all the major origin of equality, it came from Christian. Whether it's racial equality, social equality, economic equality, education equality, legal equality, at the heart and the origin of all those fight for equality were believers. I wish I had a lot more time to go through every single examples for you guys. I'm going to do one, but if you want to know the examples of these, message me, direct message me, and I'll give you my research and my links and my sources for those things, right? But let me give you one example of how Christianity, at the heart of Christianity, the lineage of Christianity is equality. We have the foundation to stand upon. The idea of the rule of law. You guys ever heard that? The rule of law? It means that whether you are old, young, rich, poor, black, white, male, female, gay, straight, everyone, president, people, kings, citizens, we're all governed by the rule of law. The rule of law guides us, right? Before the rule of law came around, it was the idea of might is right. Those in power, those with finances, those with money, those who pretty much controlled everything, called everything. But the rule of law created a system where all men are held by the standard of the law. And this concept actually was established by a Christian emperor, Justinian, right? The Roman Empire was a Christian empire at this time, but they still had pockets of places where people were doing their own thing, governing their own way. And so what Justinian did was he codified the law. And he did this with the foundation of the idea found in the Old Testament, where God, the first 5 books of the Old Testament was the Torah, right? Is the law. 619 laws given to God's people to govern God's people according to these laws. So Justinian, right, took all of these things and he codified a rule of law for the Roman Empire. And this paved the way for the legal system that we have here now in America and even in Europe today. Our Declaration of Independence can be traced back to the Christian legal system of Justinian, right? So you may say our legal system is broken. Actually, the system is one of the best out there. It's the people that wield its power that are broken. In the hand of a believer, in the hand of someone who fights for justice, who fights for righteousness, it has the power to actually transform the world. You guys follow me? That's how crazy it is. The system is bad because those who wield it for power. But can you imagine a generation of young brothers and sisters who wield the power of the law for righteousness and justice? It can change everything. That's our lineage. That's the lineage of Christianity when it comes to legal equality, right? That God's truth is the foundation and the identity as God's children. And so what happens? We take this truth, we take this identity, and we begin to live that out into the world. That's our lineage. Are you guys beginning to see the why here? Right? Because the second thing I'm about to talk to you is our why to move forward. Now, I was online and I started seeing a lot of Asians saying they are complicit to racism in this country. I thought about it, and to some degree, some sociological degree, I agree. I might agree. I come from a very subtly racist family, so I'm pretty sure mine's not the only one, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that are racist, right? And we're pretty much in our culture maybe complicit to racism of it. I'm not gonna comment too much on that, but here's what I am gonna comment on. I felt the problem of Asian Christians though, and white Christians, or any Christians, brown Christians in general, is not about the race, right? It wasn't because of racism. The problem that Asian Christians, white Christians, brown Christians, yellow, whatever, right? It was because we weren't Christian enough. We didn't dig deep enough into our why, right? And so what we see is we see a whole group of people hurting over this situation, being taken advantage of over this situation. And we see people standing in the background doing nothing. Why? Because we didn't dig deeper into our why. There's a passage, Amos 5:24, right? It said, "Let justice flow like a river, and righteousness like a mighty stream." It was a passage that Martin Luther King Jr. he preached, and he preached his message to the Christian moderates who were sitting around, just doing nothing. It wasn't because the Christian moderates they didn't believe what he was doing. They really believed it. They really believed it. It was because they didn't go deep enough into their faith to compel them to move. That was the problem. He was telling the Christian moderates not to be Christians. He said, be deeper Christians. Be even more Christians. See, Amos 5:24, what it's saying is this. The whole context of the passage is he was fed up with his church. He didn't want their offering. He didn't want their sacrifice. He didn't want their assemblies. Why? Because justice does not roll from them. Righteousness does not flow from them. The heart of it is this. Because you have been justified, if you understand the depth of that, because you who owed a debt you could not pay, and Christ had to pay it to appease justice, that's how beautiful that's how righteous our God is, that justice must be held, that Jesus had to pay that justice for us. He justified us. Our reaction then should let justice roll out of us like a river, healing and bringing life to wherever it touches. Because of the righteousness that has been given to us, our standing, that righteousness should flow out of us like a mighty stream, shaping the contours of wherever we touch, wherever we go. Martin Luther King Jr. was telling the Christians, you gotta be deeper in your Christian faith. You gotta go deeper. Let justice roll like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream. He didn't say you guys are complicit. He said, be more Christian. See, if that's our why, if you get that why, then I believe you might be able to create great change in our lifetime. For everybody, that you can bring true equality in this lifetime. See, if you don't have a why, like most non-believers out there, if you push them hard enough, you just ask them, what are you fighting for? Why are you even fighting for it? You have a why, church. And if you have a why, right? If you have this why, then go out and do it. But here's the thing. You gotta know your why. If you don't have this why, if this why is not solid, what's going to happen is you're just going to get tossed back and forth by whatever emotional drama you begin to experience in media. The news, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. You're just going to be moved by the emotional wave. All sincere, yes. But it ends up doing nothing. It ends up just disappearing over time, right? Till the next news cycles hit. But if your why is the gospel of Jesus Christ compelling you to seek justice and righteousness, I believe you have real power to make great changes. So first, our lineage. We have a spiritual lineage of equality. There are Christians who have fought for every type of equality since the death and life of Jesus Christ. And therefore, we have to know our why. We have to go deeper into that. Okay? So what's my conclusion? What are we supposed to do? PT, what are we supposed to do? Okay, we get it. We have a why. It's the gospel. You preached this 1,000 times. Like I said, I thought I would know that you guys understood this, right? So we get it. It's the gospel. What are we supposed to do? I got a couple of applications for you. One, simply this. Those of you guys who are young, still studying, maybe those of you guys are still old enough. Here's the thing. Be a witness. Be a witness. Go into the areas of politics. Go into the areas of law enforcement. Go into the area of the penal code. Go into the area of be a judge, education. Go into the area of medicine. Go into the area of media. And live out your why there. We were meant to transform our landscape with the why that's been given to us. Majority of times we lose the why. We don't dig deep enough into that, and therefore the landscape around us ends up being blurred, and we can't see the difference between good and evil sometimes. And sometimes we stand back and be passive to it. And Amos 5:25 says, let the river flow, right? Let justice flow like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream. Get into those areas. Transform them from the inside out. Have a vision for your life, church. Youth, if you're actually watching this, you got this far, have a vision for your life. Let it be more than just the dollar signs you have. If you're in college and you're figuring out what to do, have a vision for your life. Get into these areas. Live out your why. That's what we're always meant to be doing. All right, get deeper into your faith. But here's the second thing. So first thing, be a witness. Second thing, it says, grow as a follower of Jesus. You know, I read that George Floyd was a believer. He wanted change for his community. He worked with the church to help get young black kids off the street. He helped organize events to witness to the community about the love of Jesus Christ. He helped baptize young men. If that's the truth, the brother is chilling with Jesus. Yeah? And the best way that you can honor him, is to read the Bible he read. The best way that you can honor him is trust the Jesus he trusted. The best way that you can honor him is spread the message of forgiveness, of sin and new life in Jesus. The message that he preached to young black men. That's how you honor him. That's how you live this moment. You gotta get deeper. Stop having your faith being so shallow. And thirdly, do everything in your power now. Whatever you have, whatever platform you have. Maybe it is social media, right? Use your social media, right? Maybe you have a bigger platform and use that platform. Whatever is in your power. Go out to LA right now. Help clean up the big mess that's left behind by the rioters and the looters. Do something. Love your neighbor, right? Live out your why, church. So here's my thing, all right? I'm not trying to take sides, and I'm not trying to be political in any way. My heart is just, my prayer is that our church would just dig deeper into the gospel. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is an issue for me too, right? I was convicted by this, to get deeper into the gospel in my own heart, right? The feelings or lack of feelings I may have or have not compels me to say, I just got to get deeper. Let justice roll like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream. Church, I love you. I pray that in this season, as you are walking with the Lord, as you are growing, I pray that you will grow deeper in your faith, that you would become the believers who fought for the equality, that you will live out the legacy that was our lineage. the legacy, and I hope that maybe one day we would actually finish it and we would bring actual shalom peace, maybe in our generation. You tell me. Love you guys. Have a good one.